Hey everyone, welcome back to Realpolitik. This is going to be a quick update from May the 12th, 2023. So it's been about 24 hours since Ukraine has launched their counteroffensive in the Bakhmut area. And pretty much, according to the Russians, all along the front, there are also probing attacks, but we're going to focus on Bakhmut. So 48 hours ago, they began probing attacks, the Ukrainians, around here. And since then, they've escalated. But let's look at the difference, what they've been able to gain in the last 24 to 48 hours. All right, so let's go back 2 days. You can see 48 hours ago, look right here in the south, you can see that Ukraine initiated probing attacks. And then now they've also taken some territory, and their goal is essentially to basically pincer from the north and south and cut off this little salient. And then they would have to come across Klashivka, where the Russians have strong defensive positions, trench networks, and they would have to go through the settlement. It took the Russians about a month or more to take Klashivka, so it's not an easy nut to crack, but we'll see how the Ukrainians do. Now, in the north, over here, the Ukrainians have made, they took a nice little chunk of territory. Let's just measure it out. Lengthwise, we're talking about, about 2 kilometers. And then let's do this again. In terms of the width, it's about 1.7 kilometers, right? So, I mean, that was really over 24 hours. And so, yeah. Now they're in a situation, though, the Ukrainians, where it's a little precarious because if they want to go forward along this axis, they would have to go through. Basically, you see there's a river here, and there is also a reservoir here, and a little like a lake and a reservoir here. So then they would have to go through here, cross the river, and these are two natural barriers, of course. So essentially, this could act as a bottleneck for the Ukrainians, right? For the Russians to use against the Ukrainians. Now, let's look at a map by Wagner. Pretty much shows the same thing, right? The Ukrainians basically in the south, they've taken little chunks of territory in the north, little chunks of territory in the south. And of course, what they want to do, I'll just draw it out, is like a little pincer maneuver, right? Like I said, they want to cut off the salient. Um, but anyways, yeah, give me a second to get rid of this. Now aside from that, Prigozhin, he's freaking out, and the Russian MOD, two days ago they didn't say anything, and that reminded people of what happened in during the Kharkiv offensive, where Ukraine took all this territory, and the Russian MOD was silent for 3 days. And some Russian pro-Russian fanboys were freaking out. And anyways, the Russian MOD came out today, and they said that in the last 24 hours, that the Ukrainians in the Bakhmut area, they launched attacks on multiple fronts, and that they altogether had 1,000 troops, and they lost something like over 500 soldiers. So they lost half the soldiers that they started off with, and they lost 20 armored vehicles. So the Russian MOD, Ministry of Defense, says Ukraine had attacked with 1,000 troops in the Bakhmut area, and they lost 500 troops and 20 armored vehicles. Along the entire front line, the Russian MOD is saying there were something like 24, 26 attacks altogether, and they didn't. The Ukrainians were not able to take over any settlements, and altogether they lost 900 soldiers and 40 armored vehicles, including tanks. So take that with a pinch of salt. But if that's true, I mean, that's not a very good day for Ukraine. Despite the little gains here and there, it's 900 soldiers. That's pretty significant. Anyways, Prigozhin seems to be freaking out again, which is nothing new, really. But he's basically saying that the Russian, the only reason they lost territory at all was because the Russian troops abandoned their positions and retreated, and he's blaming the Russian MOD. And basically, a few days ago, he was also complaining about not getting enough ammunition, and he paused the assault on Bakhmut supposedly for a day. And then they came to an agreement, of course, right? But basically, with Prigozhin, the thing is, he's a self-made billionaire, right? The way I look at it, the guy's a self-made billionaire. He's a pretty intelligent guy. I mean, you can't become a self-made billionaire, you know, if you're not highly intelligent, right? And I'm thinking that not only it's not just me, it's a lot of people are saying that why would he show his weaknesses to the Ukrainians? Like, you're playing poker, you don't show your hand to your enemy, right? So some people believe that it's all a ruse, that he's just trying to draw in the Ukrainians. Because if you think about it, on one hand, I mean, by making his spat or disagreements with the MOD public, that could help him put pressure on the MOD. And then, because if anything goes wrong, he can say, hey, I want ammunition, they didn't give me enough. And of course, it's true because I made a public statement about it, right? So it's a way of putting pressure on the MOD to acquire more resources, right? More ammunition, whatever he needs at the same time. But he's also showing his weakness, right? He's saying that, oh, my flanks are weak. I don't have enough ammunition. I mean, is he is he is this just if is he just doing this to lure in the Ukrainians? Maybe. And then when you look at what they've gained, I mean, if they lost even 500 soldiers today in the last 24 hours, I don't know if that's worth the gains, right? And you got to understand right now to go through this. I mean, who knows? For all I know, the Ukrainians, for all I know, might, you know, go through this bottleneck here and they might, I don't know, encircle Bakhmut in the next day or two. I don't know. Anything is possible, but I mean, who knows? You gotta consider everything, right? Anyways, this is a post by Rybar, and it shows the same thing. Basically, they lost a chunk of land by the reservoir, and there's a video out. We'll watch the video, but this video has been geolocated, right? Here's the reservoir, and yeah, so you can see it better like this. Here's the reservoir, and the video I'm going to show you has been geolocated here. Okay, let's look at this. Right, you see the reservoir. You see the reservoir, maybe a little smaller. So you see the reservoir, and right around where this kind of tree line is with this vegetation is where it's been geolocated. And let's watch the video. It makes perfect sense when you watch the video. But the Ukrainians have put this out as a way of boasting and saying, look, the Russians have fled. But I don't know, you tell me what you think. I'm going to watch it without sound. I don't want copyright strikes. But anyways, so the Russians are moving up, I believe, to that tree line we saw, I believe. Truck pulls up next to another truck and an SUV, and troops unload. These are Russian troops. Artillery begins pounding their position. Ukrainian artillery. And this is not a good position to be in. And little do they know they're being watched by this drone, which will help correct the fire for the artillery, right? You see all the holes in the ground, right? All the times the artillery is missed. But anyways, the truck takes off. These guys start running. They fall probably because the ground is shaking so hard from artillery strikes. And they're going to another tree line. Now, the Ukrainians are claiming that this shows the Russians running away. But here's what I'm wondering. If they were going to run away, why didn't they all leave with the truck? Did the truck just abandon them? Is that what happened? Did the truck abandon them? Or did the truck just drop them off and leave? That's what I'm wondering. I mean, it looks bad, because at one point they're quickly moving away from one position to another and they all fall because of the artillery. It looks like it doesn't look good, right? But did the truck abandon them or not? I don't know. But anyways, why don't you guys tell me what you think? Uh, that's all I got for you today, guys. Please like and subscribe and comment, share. I will see you in the next one.